To get started, next up we're going to have an editorial panel moderated by CXENSE EVP and co-founder Mikael Roda. On the panel, I would like to welcome, and you're going to have to bear with me here because it's a bit like a Norwegian class for me. We have Paul Nisje Wilhelmsen from Nettavisen, Jan Thoresen from Egmont Publishing, Kasper Haugård of Dagbladet Børsen, and former VG executive Jo Christian Otterhals. Take it away.
Okay, hello. So then I'm starting up. I've got the honor job to be the moderator of this editorial team. I don't have any editorial experience, but I have some insight experience, which I hope could be helping the questions, but also helping the guys to give us the right answers. So first of all, I think it's very, very good that we can have a panel like this, because it's a very wide panel. We have everything from Nettavisen, that is doing a traditional journalistic works, combining a lot of social media, also media sources. We have paid solutions like Dagbladet Børsen, that has a paywall, because that's also interesting to listen to them, what they think when it comes to the social media. And of course, the last is of course the magazine part. That is taking care of the more verticals and most of the content that people are dedicated to. There are very different kind of publishers, and I think that that will give us a relatively broad information about how these guys view the social media. So I hope this will be an interesting session. We have three parts of this session. First is the social media taking over the world, as you can see with the newspaper we have in the back here. If that is a question, that will be answered by yes or no. And then we also probably have heard, all of us, that Facebook, the American company that probably most of you have heard about, they have now launched what they call the instant articles. And what is really the reason behind that? Because a lot of people say that these are brilliant, and some people are saying that might be a little bit scary. And the last thing is that some of the earlier presenters, they touched the theme of personalization. And I think both when it comes to the social media and personalization, they are very much linked together. So that's what we would like to try to test out with the guys in the panel. So this is not my speech, I've heard. Somebody has told me that. But anyway, I would like to start off with one slide. This slide here, this is a very important slide, as far as we can see, because this seems to be a pattern all over the world when it comes to newspapers. 80 to 85% of all users are non-loyal users, and they are consuming between 1 to 3 page impressions per month. There are only some few percentage that are really loyal. And this has actually, this slide up here, as you can see, on the 80 to 90, these guys are probably between 10 to 15% of the total customer base. And this is very, very much different than what we saw some few years back. So if you can have this one as a background and try to get back to this slide all the time, I think that will be good. So, back to you guys. So first of all, the slides that you see in your back, is that typically how you also see it on your sites today? Let's start with our Danish friends.
Yeah, pretty much. When we see more and more traffic coming from social media, when we see coming from Google, the number of people that sees only 1, 2, or 3 pages are increasing. But because I'm a business site and we are hard paywall and have a lot of customers that are using us, I have a lot of heavy users. So I go, like here, I go way up. I have like a third of all visits I have is consumed by people that see more than 200 pages a month. So like I go down in the middle and go way up, and then I'm going up in the beginning.
And Egmont?
Yes, so I'm the editor of a dozen magazine sites in Egmont, Denmark. We're quite medium-sized, 1.3 million weekly users. And yes, this is very much our story as well, because we have about 50–60% of the traffic from Facebook. And of course, our Facebook readers, they don't leave us much impressions per users. They leave us typically 1 or 2 impressions. So yeah, that's the story for us as well.
I leave you wait a little bit, John, Joel. Christian. So Paul, what about you in Nettavisen?
Well, we have a different kind of users. One of them are social, but I'll get back to the social readers, I think. When it comes to news readers, they kind of fall into two target groups. One of them is what you call the social reader, who comes from Facebook or other social platforms. And that, I'll just touch into the other social platform called Twitter. The Twitter readers are the worst. They only read one article because that's the one that's been shared, and they only read that one and go back. The Facebook readers are somewhat in two different kind of categories. If they go into a news story, sort of like something's happened, they want to read about it, that's 1 or 2 clicks. But if they go into a magazine story, which we also have, they tend to have some more clicks. But you see the same pattern when it comes to social readers. But when it comes to our size, we have quite a big front page. You have a tendency to have a lot of readers that actually give a lot of page views each month. So you kind of get more at that end too. But the social readers are down there.
Okay, Jo Christian, with your previous experience in the business, I mean, in the early days, front page was the most dominant part of the main traffic. I remember from my old days in Schibsted, 80% probably more or less came to the front page in the beginning. Now everybody's talking about that the article becomes the new front page. What do you agree upon that argument, and what do you think is the main reason behind that?
Well, I think it's quite correct what you are saying, that the article is becoming the new front page, and the driver of it is of course the social media traffic, but a big driver in that shift again, I think, is the transition to mobile. The mobile users are what's it called? They are not as dependent on that front page as the desktop users are. So I think mobile has a lot to do with it.
Okay. Jan, what do you think is the typical pattern for the users that's visiting your site? I mean, as you mentioned it, that most of them are coming from search, but are they loyal customers, you think? Do you know anything about that?
Well, actually, most of them are coming from Facebook, and yes, only 1/4 of the traffic is coming directly. But yeah, what we typically do is we bring strong stories that matters in people's lives, and that happens to be a really huge driver on Facebook, because people are personal on Facebook, and that's why we are so big on Facebook. It's really perfect for our magazine world. I didn't think that was the answer to your question.
But it was a good answer. but is it so that the users that you have, I mean, are you doing anything to have them to revisit your sites, or is it so that you openly let them come in from the back door and just view your content and leave again?
Yes, because we are not a news site and cannot have we are not in people's daily surfing loop, right? Like VG and Nettavisen are. So we have to sell every story by themselves. So now we don't have like loyal users. And for us, we have some email. We have, of course, Facebook and Google, which are our way of reaching out.
It's your front page.
Yeah, that's how basically our front page is.
So that for you, typically, without social media and search, you will become still a very small player in the marketplace?
Yes.
Is that right to say?
We'll lose 75% of our traffic then.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you typically doing, Kasper, in your site? Because you have a paywall, as you say. How are paywall and social media traffic combined?
It's horrible.
Yeah, it is, I guess.
Yeah. Like 1 year ago, we had like 1% of our traffic came from social, and we weren't really active on social because everybody at the company just said, you know, we are paywall, we can't do social. But then we started slowly, you know, bringing our stories out there. And that was a rage, because you know, paid for content doesn't really fit on social. So people got really angry, and there was a lot of stories about our brands that just started developing. You know, who are these fuckers? You know, they're taking money. You know, don't you know the internet? Everything is free. So like it was really bad, because we would like to know our next customers or the next generation of customers. We like to get in contact with them. But so we started opening up. So if you come from social media in the beginning, you could read 3 articles. And now we turned it down to 1. And there's nobody, no angry people anymore, and we get a lot of traffic. We get around 6% of our traffic now from social.
So that means that the guys that is reading 1 article?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they come in, we give them a message, hey, welcome, we have tons of good things, normally you have to pay for this, but we think that you're so special, you should try it, and then we have offers of subscription.
Okay, so you
Not converting really good, but,
okay.
But we try.
But that means that you have a combination of a hard paywall and a more metering model for the people coming from social media directly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really a meter model, but you can read 1 article a day, and then we hope you slowly get to know us and like us.
So typically, Paul, what are you doing when you are promoting the articles on social media? Is that a specific task in the organization today?
Yeah, it's the same guy who actually does a front page, who also kind of looks at Facebook as another front page. Our front page editor also looks at the Netavisen's Facebook page as another front page. The articles are not typically the same article that we put on top. The main article in Netavisen could be that Norway will welcome 10,000 refugees, or 8,000 as it turned out to be. But that might not go as well as the article that one of the parties will go out of the government on Facebook. So we kind of go for the more engagement type articles on Facebook than more than the hard news ones. And we kind of try to twist them a bit so we get the reactions on Facebook, so people comment on them, because that's free traffic, people see them commenting. But it's the same guy doing the same thing on the front page and also on the Facebook page, so we don't get any lag between the news publishing. So you can follow us on every platform you want. One of our strategic components in our main long-term work is everywhere on any platform and all of the time. So that means that we would be published on any kind of platform, wherever it is. That's just as long as you get our news. So, yeah.
A small question to all of you, not including Jo Christian, who doesn't have a site, but it's his private site, but that's probably not big enough yet. But what do you know about the social users today? Do you know anything at all without the number? Or do you know the number even?
No, we don't actually really know. We know all the statistics that Facebook gives us, and for our point, we can see that our fan base is fairly younger than our readers on our site. So we have the imagination that we have to tap into these lives so they can get customers later. But we don't know anything about them, really.
Potential customer. Okay, next.
Well, I guess your question is about demographics and...
whatever, interests in general. Revisits.
Of course, you can read a lot out of our stats, and we can see that people are coming back if we give them what they want on Facebook. So, as we take Facebook really seriously in my team. I mean, our editors are using half the time on Facebook, and we have about 12 pages, I think, and 100 updates a day.
Okay.
So yes, of course, we know a lot about the footprints that those users are making on our sites.
Okay, Paul.
Yeah, I think it's mostly the same like that Jan and you told me. That we tend to analyze the traffic coming from Facebook quite well, and also the demographics, and kind of to what kind of stories we should share on Facebook. Because if our demographics there are different, so there are different kinds of stories that we should share, and. And we also know a lot about the revisits and how they visit us. We know that a lot of people on our Facebook page are actually fans of our brand, and that's actually most of them are people that visit us anyway, but they want to kind of comment on Facebook and share the articles on Facebook. So yeah.
But Mikael, since you don't give me any questions, can I ask
for you now?
Yeah. Because when you are showing this slide and all the questions that has been so far, it seems to me like we are talking about this as a problem in a way, something that has to be solved. But my question is this really wrong? Perhaps it should be even more so. Because when you look at Facebook instant articles, what they are providing a publishing system. They are providing a great opportunity for somebody who is starting up. And what I think is strange with our business is that now somebody introduced me as a veteran of digital media out here. I have been doing it for 17 years, and it suddenly struck me that 17 years is long enough for this to have become a very, very established business. We have too many things to protect. But for those who want to start up, for those who want opportunities, these are opportunities that never was there before. This was a long question, but I have one more sentence. The thing is, when you look at video, who is the largest video player in the world? It's Facebook.
Yeah.
And the traffic that they drive on video has increased, I don't know how much, was it 400 times or 40, I don't remember, but in 1 year. It's fantastic. BuzzFeed has increased their video reach by 80 times in a year by using that platform. They are not concentrating on their own platform at all. Small shows like the Young Turks in the United States have been doing this for years. They have perhaps 100,000 viewers on YouTube. They now have 9 million on Facebook. So I mean, for somebody starting out today that is not, have all that luggage, I think, boom, just do it.
But the guys sitting next to you have a lot of luggage, and that's the problem. Or the issue.
But I
totally agree with you. This is the reason why we try to angle it in this way is that this is not necessarily a catastrophe, because we see that if you do it well, this is a great opportunity. And I think the mix, and we see already here that there are publishers that are, that's their whole business. So I think that's typically a good answer to the next subject, which was actually instant articles.
Fantastic.
So instant articles is that what that's really, as you Christian mentioning, that's Facebook are actually claiming that that's a direct publishing, and what they are offering actually is a much more speedy types of user experience, especially on the mobile, of course, faster loading, all formats. And also that they give the publishers the opportunity to keep the revenue for the advertisements. So you have already given your answer to that, Christian. But since we can ask the largest Facebook receiver, Egmont, what are you thinking about using? Have you tested it out? Will you like to test it out? Will you like to test it out when it will be available?
Yes, of course we will test it out, but I don't think anyone besides the first ones has tested it out yet, because it's in a development phase. But my point with instant articles is that this is for sure a mega trend. It's not sure that Facebook articles or that test project is the one, but off-site publishing, of course, will be a mega trend, and that challenges our strategy, of course, which now is getting people to our site and sell ads to them. That won't work in the future, we know that for sure, so we have to develop some new business models. For instance, content marketing, and for me, instant articles is just a way to get more eyeballs on my strong stories, and I know the Facebook users already want them, so for me it will be increased traffic, even though the traffic is not on my site.
What about Nettavisen? Have you thought about this? And what do you think really is the reasons behind what Facebook is doing now? Do they have some kind of hidden agenda, you think?
I don't really think that Mark Zuckerberg has really any hidden agenda. He just has an agenda that Facebook should be the biggest provider of internet in the world. I don't think that's very hidden.
That's not
I
hidden.
think that's quite
well
proven. The second thing is that I see the same thing as you do. You see publishers attacking different distribution channels. That's actually what they're doing. I compared it to that in Norway. If you would attack the Nettavisen in Norway for distributing your newspaper, it's the same thing. You actually look at different kinds of distribution channels, and then you have to look at the business models. If the business model at Facebook Instant Articles is good, we'll do that. If it's not good, we won't do it. But the thing is that the guys doing it will actually have a lot of power in the media market over us if we don't do it, even if the business model is bad for us, because they will have a different kind of business model. So you see the issue isn't like if you do or don't. It's like you have to look at each distribution channel and what you want to do with those distribution channels, and this is your selling point. I'll give you this for free. So I'm not paid to say this, but the insights in this is really the important thing. If you don't actually look at all the data for the different distribution channels, you're losing, and that's the big challenge when it comes to all of these kind of solutions that are coming up. Like we're doing a cooperation with Microsoft. We are on all of their platforms. And internally, our journalists said we can't be there. We don't. They actually said we don't make any money on this. Imagine journalists saying that for 20 years ago. But they said that we don't make any, we don't make any money on this. We shouldn't do it. Blah blah. And I said, wait a minute. I think Microsoft is planning something big. And this was 6 months before Windows 10. And now we're already there. We're going to be providing on the front page of Windows 10. It's great, but still, it's a distribution challenge for us.
But as you mentioned, because as you say, insight data, this, I mean, if you do use the platform for your publishing platform, that means that you're not using your insight data anymore. That's the algorithm of Facebook. So they are deciding up whatever kind of who is going to see it. So you don't really have control. And if they, in addition, also make the user experience better than what you can do yourself as a current publisher, would that be a threat, you think, or not?
No, I think Facebook actually will allow you to add your own tracking on the instant article pages.
Yeah,
so that's
if
also
you
a business opportunity for you.
Okay. So again, back to Børsen. What about you? Do you think that instant articles, are there something for you?
Well,
paid instant articles?
For our business model, it's not logic. But I think, you know, we have a lot of baggage. We are 119 years old, and during these years, we built up a very organization that's extremely expensive to run. So, I mean, instant articles or not, I mean, our threat is that somebody would start up from new, they could, you know, make the same that we did for half the price. So, no matter where they publish, we are threatened by that it's expensive to do what we do today. So I think the same as you. I mean, it's a huge opportunity. If you're young, you're a startup, you want to start something, you know, you don't have to build your own platform, you don't have to own your sales organization, you don't have a marketing organization. Just go ahead, do it, publish, and you can probably have a great business. But for somebody like us, it's a little bit more difficult with that.
You, Christian, a question to you. So I've not forgotten you. If everybody is now starting to use instant messaging or instant articles, and Facebook become the typically place for me to go if I would like to have news. What do you think will happen? First of all, is everybody will be there, and secondly, if Facebook, for instance, buy BuzzFeed or that kind of services and take over the delivery of the content themselves and prioritize it themselves, do you think that is that optional?
Well,
it's only conspiracy.
I think that was several questions in one, really. But, but to the first thing, I think that when it comes to the question, will everybody be there? No, not everybody will be there, and you will probably not be on instant articles, and a lot of providers will not be there. And I think the most traditional ones will not use this opportunity. But then you see, Apple comes with I forgot its name, Apple News, you know, and Microsoft has similar stuff in their operating systems, etc., etc. They are popping up everywhere, as you say. It's a mega trend. So I think over time we will be forced to, in one way or another, react on it and be there in a way. As for Facebook buying BuzzFeed, I don't know. My guess would be that they are happy being technology providers and community operators because the content is expensive and they are not in the low margin business. So I don't think so.
Okay, then we go to the last point here. That's me. That's personalization. If we believe that the first slide tells us that traditional news is also missing some kind of a general types of engagement, how important will personalization of content be in the future to actually change that kind of map for the traditional publishers? Number one, you?
Yeah, well, it's essential that we are relevant to our audience. And personalization is a way of making, you know, finding something that's relevant for one person at that time. Because we, you know, during the day, in the morning, maybe you need something, and in the afternoon, and when the evening you need something different. So we need to be relevant. That's one thing. I have a fairly larger audience, and they're still very much in favor of using my front page. And what the front page is that we prioritized and we give our saying on what's important right now. So for my kind of audience right now, and with a business paper, of course should be a combination that we have, we have some really smart editors sitting there say, this is right now actually really important to understand, and mix it up with everything that's, that means something for you, or you, or you, or you. So we don't have a dumb side, but an intelligent side that gives you what you need when you need it. What about you, Jan?
Well, we have done some tests with the recommendation engines, but I have an editorial heart, and I strongly believe in the power of a good editor choosing the right story that you knew that you wanted to read. And my numbers also tells me that's now, at least, the most effective way to chase the second click, because that's the story from your first graph there. My task is to chase the second click. I get the first one, but I often don't get the second one. So for me, personalization is chased for the next click, right?
Yeah, I agree.
You Christian, you can also answer this question.
Thank you. No, do you know what I think is the problem? I think that publishers, and I come from there, I've just been having a 6-week-long vacation now, so I still remember how it was. I think the problem is that publishers are asking this question. They are asking me, instead of you. They are asking, what can personalization do for us as publishers? They are very seldomly asking that question, what is this going to do for our users? So this is driven by publishers, for the most part, I think, by a need to get better data for advertising, better data for this and for that, but very seldom, how is this going to improve the product that we are delivering to the end user? So, I think, regarding the question, that it cannot be too much. It can't be too much personalization for me as an end user, but it has to be the right kind of personalization.
That was a good answer. Paul, what about you?
Well, there's some logical personalizations that you could have, like you have the weather from the place you're living, and not like always Oslo in Norway. You actually live somewhere else. And there's also the highly illogical personalization that you kind of talk about, Jan. And what the publishers kind of want, they want you to click on this story because they make more money on this story. And that's the highly illogical personalization they try to force you into. But I love a great example from this, because it's football. I always use football as example. So I want everyone to learn how to love football. But the thing is that there's only 30% of the population in Norway that really likes football and likes sports and really likes to read about sports. The 70% of them don't. But if Norway wins over Sweden, which I didn't, but if they did, 100% of all Norwegians want to know that.
Yeah. So, that's not sport anymore.
And the personalization would actually take that away. So the stupid personalization is taking things away from the user. The good personalization is actually what you're saying. It's giving the user something more. And I think when you look at the personalization the publishers is doing, is always on content. And they stop thinking about it. And I try to make the ads more segmented with insights and stuff like that. Personalized ads, that works. And you see the great international publishers doing this. And when I talk publishers, I mean advertisers, like Hotels.com, that actually personalize the ads. When I'm logged into Hotels.com, which I'm all of the time, they actually personalize the ad I get. Paul, you have 3 nights in a hotel now. Do you want to book them now? That's a great ad. I did.
Good. Last question, because we are not able to get any more questions. We have several, but I have my learnings from the publishing industry is that I think that we're starting to see some kind of an editorial dilemma. I know that Jan is not agreeing about that, but in one way you would like to personalize everything, and in the old days the editor would like to be in charge of everything. How can you combine that? How will the editor survive in the future? Or will it be so that the users and the readers are deciding more or less most of the things that they would like to be presented to? Yes, no, or I don't know. Starting in Denmark.
Well, basically we talk about...
Yes,
I think
no, or I don't know.
It's a combination. It's a combination. Of course, I believe, like you do, we need strong editors. We need somebody who make content. But the content should be relevant. I mean, so many, Facebook doesn't do anything. They don't own anything. Uber doesn't own any cards. I mean, there's a lot of companies that are going up, but they're not creating anything. So we represent more or less somebody who creates something that can be used in some sort, and it needs sharp editors. But of course, we need the data to bring the right thing at the right time.
Jan, you will still like to be an editor?
Yeah.
You will still like to be an editor?
Yeah, do you want a real answer or just a short one? You know, well, the readers are always the editor, I think. So if they're telling us what they like by stop buying newspapers, or they're telling that by clicking on things on Facebook, I think we'll of course adapt what the readers want. So editor is still an editor without the front page, I think.
Consultant Oterhals.
Yes, no, or I don't know, then I take the consultant route and say, I don't know, what do you think?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a secret.
That will cost you $1,000.
Yes.
What about you, Paul?
Yeah.
The thing is, I think the question is fine, but still, I'll answer it by, if everyone here talked at the same time, you needed someone to ask someone to talk first. And that's the editor role. And the personalization role is also already done, because I don't get the same story on your newspaper as I get if I go to Extrabladet or if I go to Beta or whatever. That's a personalization, because you actually personalize for your audience. And that you can tweak that, but if you don't have that editor, but what you can actually use, you can use all of the insights to get the better editor personalization for your audience. That's, I think is the key to it.
That was a very good last comment. So thank you, panel, for a very good contribution.
Thank you.